I'm delighted to be your host this morning. By way of visual introduction for anyone who's visually impaired today, I have brown hair, blue eyes, medium build, and I'm wearing a white jacket with gold buttons. So what's going to happen over the next hour or so? Well, we're going to hear from Peter Day at the Community Relations Council, and we're going to hear from Russell Lever from ASG. They're going to tell us all about this week-long celebration, the type of events you can host, and the benefits, of course, of taking part. We're also going to be joined in the next hour or so by event organisers who are all very passionate about promoting good relations and actively take part each year. That includes Jen Cole from Antrim and Newtownabbey Council, Jane Sims from the Education Authority, Yaswell Emmanuel from MSCNI, and Steph O'Rourke from Springboard. They're going to share their experience of planning and delivering successful events, discuss why they believe it's so important to take part in this annual celebration, and explain why other organisations should consider getting involved. So before we get started, we'd really love you to get involved today. Any general questions you have during the webinar, use the chat box, and also use the chat box to submit any questions you have for the Q&A session at the very end. Quick note, the webinar is being recorded. We'll send it out after the event. You'll be able to review any of the information discussed and also share it with colleagues or groups or friends who maybe weren't able to join us today. So, first off, we're going to watch a video on Good Relations Week, and this year's theme, you're going to hear more about it over the next hour or so, but this year's theme is Connect. After the video, we're going to pass over to Peter Day, Director of Engagement at the Community Relations Council.
Well, good morning, everyone. And my visual introduction is that I've got short grey hair. I've got a kind of salt and pepper goatee beard. I wear black rimmed glasses, and today I have a blue shirt on. So hello and thank you for making the time to come along to this webinar today. I hope that you'll find the session interesting and informative. And in case I just don't get to do it later on, thanks to our colleagues at ASG and partners for their work in making this webinar happen today, to Joe for hosting, and to our panelists, Jen, Jane, Jaswell and Steph, for what I expect to be a really helpful and practical webinar to get some insights into Good Relations Week. So what is the week? Many of you will be familiar with it already. It's a week-long celebration running this year from the 13th to the 19th of October. We've pushed the dates back slightly later this year because we've had feedback from our evaluations from organisers who wish to simply have more time post-summer to plan and organise their events. Importantly, Good Relations Week provides a platform for community groups and organisations. Some of them grants supported by the Community Relations Council, although many are not, as well as statutory bodies, businesses, local councils, and the wider community and voluntary sector to showcase the positive good relations projects and initiatives that they are delivering across the region. The week acts as a celebration of all aspects of our culture, heritage, and cultural diversity, and it's aimed at attracting media and public interest for the outstanding good relations work of groups and individuals, demonstrating the role we all play in delivery of the Together Building a United Community strategy. It's also about inspiring new projects, as well as showcasing existing activity, promoting understanding, respect, and engagement between all sections of our society to tackle sectarianism and racism and to promote cultural diversity. So why is it important? Well, it's important for all those reasons, but provides the opportunity to shine a light on the hundreds of organisations and individuals who work tirelessly to build inclusive and united communities that promote equality and diversity across the region. It highlights the positive work already being delivered and also gives organisations and individuals the chance to look at the changes required to support shared and sustainable communities as we build united communities together. The theme for this year embraces Connect, recognising that the foundation for a better community is built on people, planet, and prosperity, all connected by the goal of peace. By prioritising people, we cultivate communities that are welcoming, inclusive, and resilient. Through collective responsibility for our planet, we ensure a sustainable future for generations to come. By driving prosperity, we build an economy that creates opportunity and security for all. This year, the week aligns with the Northern Ireland Executive's Programme for Government, which outlines the three key missions of people, planet, and prosperity, underpinned by a cross-cutting commitment to peace. The Programme for Government aims to enhance social and economic well-being through innovation, inclusivity, and sustainability, with a vision of positioning the region as a peaceful, leading, agile, and advanced small economy. We hope that you can be part of the week, and next, Russell will outline some ideas and suggestions as to how you can join in and why you should get involved. So thanks again for coming along today. Thanks for listening. Back to you, Joe.
Thanks so much, Peter. I think that's given us all a really good understanding of Good Relations Week. And I think the theme Connect is a brilliant call to action. As you said, we're going to pass on now to Russell, and he's going to outline the benefits of getting involved in Good Relations Week, the types of events that you can run, and how you can register. Over to you, Russell.
Thanks very much, Joe, and thanks, Peter, for the description of Good Relations Week. My name is Russell Lever. I'm Deputy Director of PR and Events for ASG and partner. We are the delivery agents in partnership with Community Relations Council to deliver Good Relations Week. We've been lucky enough to work with CRC to deliver Good Relations Week since 2020. So we've managed to do quite a few in between, and I'll be honest, it's probably one of the sort of highlights of my year, you know, to be able to help and support CRC in delivering this amazing sort of program of events, you know, and being able to see the great work that the groups and community organisations and statutory bodies and all deliver throughout the year to showcase and bring people together, you know, and I think, you know, what we want to try and do is really try and deliver, just continue to improve and continue to develop Good Relations Weeks so that it shines bright, you know, in terms of what people are doing, you know, and for that there's many benefits in terms of, you know, why organisations should get involved in Good Relations Week. You know, it helps raise awareness, you know, of an organisation's values, missions, and achievements. You know, it showcases your organisation's outstanding good relations efforts, not just during Good Relations Week, but over the year past. You know, it's a real opportunity to, you know, It promotes your organization's efforts to bring sort of communities together, regardless of background, culture, or heritage. It really shines a light on your organization's efforts to tackle, whether it's sectarianism, racism, and any forms of identity hatred and inequality. So it also promotes understanding, inclusivity, and cooperation aimed at encouraging positive social change. It also really helps in terms of building strength in relationships. It gives you an opportunity to cooperate with other groups, with other organizations around you during that week and in the build up to it, that will hopefully form relationships with other community partners, stakeholders and participants. And hopefully it attracts, a new generation of peace builders and program, participants, and I suppose it gives your organization and your staff, the chance to enjoy and, the positive experiences, that it's delivered throughout the year, and sort of sit back and go, what, we've actually did an amazing job over the past 12 months, that way. So, and I suppose overall it sort of demonstrates your organization's ability, to make a difference, to your capacity for peace building and community development. So it really does give an opportunity, to shine bright what you guys are doing every day throughout the year, and what you've done previously, and hopefully what you want to do, in the future. So in terms of that, we love meeting and seeing, organizations that get involved. We've met so many, and we've tried to do as many and support as many as we possibly can through case studies, through stories, through PR opportunities. So again, I suppose it's a call to action for me, is to say, if you have any, or if you think you guys are doing an amazing job, which I'm sure many of us are, but if there's anything that you just want to try and maybe showcase or promote, we're here to try and help you do that. We're here to, again, like I keep saying, shine a light on the great work that you are doing. So if there's something you want to shout about, get in touch with us. Myself and my colleague Naomi will more than be happy to have a chat with you and see where we can help and take that forward in terms of whether it's PR opportunities, or maybe some video content or interviews, that way as well. So please reach out, because we want those real success stories to get that meetings and stuff as well. So in terms of during Good Relations Week, there's a variety of different events that the organizations can run. It's constantly evolved. We got involved in 2020, and it was everything before that was physical events. We had to really sort of flip Good Relations Weeks on its head and come at it from a completely different slant with COVID, where for 2020 it was all online events or past pieces of content or showcases of what you've done in the past. Thankfully, we've come out of that a long time ago, a few years ago now. So again, we've evolved. Online events is still very much part and parcel. We're sitting on a webinar now, so that's definitely a form of communicate, a way of celebrating what you do during Good Relations Week. But physical events is back, and it's back with a bang. So you can do that, in that way. So, but it can be anything from workshops, lectures, panel discussions, feature talks, podcasts, films, theatre productions, music and dance, storytelling, exhibitions, anything that will showcase the work that you do, and anything, the creative the better, and suppose we always like to say the bigger the better, but it doesn't necessarily have to be better. It can be small, intimate. You can collaborate with other organizations. You can collaborate, just do it on yourselves. You can work with other departments in your building. Again, the opportunities are endless in terms of trying to do that. It's about how you can start thinking about it now. Good Relations Week is a few months off, but the summer's just around the corner. This is why hosting this workshop now will allow, hopefully, those connections that sort of maybe plant a few seeds where over the summer that may be able to take shape, and coming into September, and hopefully you'll be willing to do that. So again, it doesn't have to be a brand new event. If you have video content from events that you're running throughout the year, or a compilation video, or a series of podcasts or lectures that you can run as a series, maybe do one per day over Good Relations Week, that's absolutely fine. That they can all be registered as single events on the Good Relations Week website, and we can maximize that and use the website as a chance to showcase what you guys are doing. So we encourage everyone to use the theme as inspiration for your events. So with a strong focus on events where there's an opportunity to connect with one another, but also an opportunity to focus on people, planet, and prosperity. So events that bring people together, such as human library sessions, coffee and chat mornings, events that focus on the planet, such as beach cleaning or tree planting sessions, and then prosperity, whether it's webinars, workshops, or demos that can help people build more prosperous lives. So we have a toolkit on the Good Relations Week website that's there for people to download and to help. And again, we're at the end of an email or a phone. If you need any support in terms of if you want to do a quick half an hour on Zoom or something like that to try and throw a few ideas about, we're here. We're here to help you. CRC are here to help you. So please get in touch. That way. So how can you register for an event? So if you want to head to the website, it's goodrelationsweek.com. It's quite easy. You can create an account if you don't already have one. If you have one, try and your password. Hopefully it'll allow you to log it in. And register your event using, it's an automated online system. It's very, very easy. You have to sort of make sure you click through everything because you can't go past one. So it's about, and I would say it's about putting as much detail as you possibly can. It's a marketing tool for your event. It's how you can showcase that to the best of its ability. So making sure the descriptions and stuff like that are accurate, and if events are running on multiple days, register them as multiple events so that they're all showcased for what they are and stuff. That way. So can't emphasize it enough. We're here to help. We want to help you. We want to make sure that we get as many events as we possibly can for Good Relations Week, 2025. So please reach out. So and good luck and keep in touch. So thank you. Thanks, Joe.
Okay, thanks, Russell. Lots and lots of support and help. I'm sure that those practical tips will have inspired lots of people in our audience today. Just to reiterate what Russell said there, goodrelationsweek.com if you want to register an event. Reach out, please, to grw25@asgcomms.com if you need any help whatsoever or any inspiration. So we're going to move on now to our panel discussion. We've got Jen Cole from Antrim and Newtownabbey Borough Council. We've got Jane Sins from the Education Authority, Yaswell Emmanuel from MSCNI, and Steph O'Rourke from Springboard. Thank you all so very much for joining us this morning and for taking the time, and indeed for sharing your experiences of running events for Good Relations Week. I'm looking forward to our discussion today. First of all, though, could you please give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself and your role within your organisation, and a visual introduction too, please, if you don't mind. And I'm going to start, please, with Jen, then Yaswell, and then Steph.
Hi, I'm Jen Cole. I'm Good Relations Coordinator with Antrim and Newtownabbey Borough Council, and my role is responsible for coordinating and delivering and implementing good relations delivery across the borough, working with community partners and statutory partners as well. My visual introduction is that I am trying to be blonde. So I am blonde at the minute. I'm wearing big glasses, I have blue eyes, and I am from more of the curvy plus size persuasion, which I'm happy enough about. So that's my introduction. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then Yaswell. Oh, I don't think we're hearing you.
Sorry, yeah.
There we go. There he is. There we go. Yeah.
It's Jaswell Emmanuel, chairperson, multi-ethnic sport and culture, Northern Ireland. I run a project basically, and we've been involved in good relations activity for a while now, say going to almost 7 years. And my visual introduction will be body black guy and navy jacket and a white teeth. Does that make sense?
Love it. Absolutely. Very accurate. Thank you for that. And I'm going to come to Stephanie next and then Jane.
Hi everyone, I'm Steph O'Rourke. I am Executive Director of Springboard. Springboard is a Belfast-based youth organisation that runs peace building projects for young people who experience disadvantage. And by way of visual introduction, I have long blonde hair, I have blue eyes, I'm wearing a pink shirt today, and I am sitting in Springboard's offices in Belfast city centre. So there's probably a bit of commotion to and fro behind me.
Thank you. It all adds to it. Jane, finally up to you.
Hi there, delighted to be here. My name is Jane Sims and I am the Education Authority's lead for the brand new Aspire Peace Plus programme, which has at its core collaboration and sharing and all of the things that we've already talked about through Good Relations Week. So delighted to have an opportunity to talk to you about what our schools are doing. In terms of a visual representation, I love Jen's. I'm trying to be blonde. I've given up. I'm purely grey at this stage, and that's mostly down to my three older children. So yes, grey hair, big glasses reflective of the eyesight, and wearing a blue t-shirt today.
Fabulous. Thank you all so much. Okay, I'm going to come to Yasmin first, please. You talked about being involved for the last 7 years. Remind us of some of the activities that you've previously been involved in with Good Relations Week. Oh, and I think you're mute again.
Sorry.
There we go.
Yeah, especially.
You heard the question okay?
What?
You heard the question okay?
Yeah.
Excellent.
We've been involved in quite a lot of projects, running football tournaments, multi-ethnic youth festivals, Legacy Cup, and also during the pandemic, we try and we had a kind of football competition that brought out isolated refugee and asylum seekers just to come out and have a go, you know. So we try and incorporate cultural activities into all our Good Relation projects over the years, bringing in drum cycle, African drum cycle, bringing in dancers from Chinese to India dancers and African dancers. And also we try and encourage good relation workshops led by the youth about around racism, sectarianism, hate crime, you know, how you can use social media keyboard workshop as well. So we've been trying over the years to make sure that all our projects are based around peace building, inclusion, mental health, well-being, workshops, activity for young ones right from age 5 to 60 years old. And that is what we've been doing over the years. And we thank Community Relations Council for the support they've been giving us and all their staffs. Thank you.
So sport is obviously an excellent way to bring people together and promote good relations. Any advice for sporting organisations that are maybe listening today about why it's so important to get involved with Good Relations Week?
Yeah, sport is a universal language. With sport, you cut across all nationalities, break down barriers, unite people, share the same goals, and allow cultural expression. So my advice would be basically be very international, look outside the box, plan with inclusion from the outset. Try and build partnership with local clubs, youth clubs, schools, community networks. This year we'll be at least collaborating with about 3-4 organizations, you know, to come together to do activities, and we'll be including Green Sports Day, which is like connecting sports and climate in action together. Also, I will advise them to to celebrate differences. Use sport as a stage for cultural expression, not competition. And also think beyond the pitch. You know, think beyond the pitch, think about well-being, think about climate, think about prosperity, think about good relation workshop around hate crime, around trying to educate people on more, how you can be more inclusive. And also, I know Northern Ireland is a welcoming place. So we try and, as much as possible, to put out the word out there. And also maybe get youth together to do a kind of workshop around climate justice, pollution, and sustainable lifestyle and things like that. Thank you.
So, I mean, you make it all sound very straightforward, but there's a huge amount of planning goes into all of this. Tell us briefly again what you're planning to do this year, and also what advice for people out there who may think, oh, there's just too much hassle in all of this, and it's a bit of a barrier potentially.
No, yeah. Actually, we're trying to do Green Sport Day to promote environmental awareness. We build on our last tournament. We also get involved in youth-led workshop around racism, mental health, peace building, and also cultural expression, working alongside with ICDF, NI, Image Nation, Indian groups, and local groups. And also, it's very, very easy. It's simple. You don't have to do everything. It's only, I'm a workaholic. But just try as much as possible to engage before you do your project. Engage with your audience, listen to them, even community leaders, grassroots communities, listening to their opinion. They will give you idea of basic things probably you have to do. You don't have to, like what Russell said, you don't have to seek £10,000 to do good relation week. It can be a webinar like this. It can be something very meaningful to people, let people learn from it. I think that would be very, very ideal for everybody.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm going to come to Jane next. It's very clear, obviously, that involving schools in good relations activities is incredibly important. Jane, what role does the EA play in supporting schools during Good Relations Week?
Thanks, Jo. First of all, I'm just going to say very briefly, we are absolutely delighted that the date has changed to the 13th to 19th of October. It makes such sense for our schools. I mean, I'm sure you all know you have kids at school, you were once a child yourself going into school. September is a really busy time. So we're delighted to support the change to October. So yeah, what do we do in terms of that? Well, I have a lovely position within EA in that I support schools to come together through shared education. So one of the things that we'll be encouraging them to do in their partnerships this year is to get out there and to do something that they're already doing, because these schools are already doing lots of work around diversity, respecting difference and mutual understanding. So we're going to encourage our schools to highlight that during Good Relations Week. So some of the things that they might want to be doing is some of the sporting events there that Yaswell mentioned. Get out there and play those different sports together, because sports in schools can be divisive, but when they do it together, they can learn so much from each other. We're going to get them to be creative, get out there their artwork. We're going to get them to be innovative in terms of thinking about doing some artwork, some work with local artists, and maybe some work around novels, which all feeds into the curriculum. So there's so many things that our schools can do, and I have the lovely position of encouraging them to do that through their shared education.
And why do you think it's so important?
Why do I think it's so important? Because if young people learn to live together at the age of 3 and 4, then hopefully by the time they leave school, they'll be able to answer some of those very difficult questions that they're going to get in adult life. So starting early, whether it's in preschool or primary or in their post-primary school, coming together and learning together is so important.
So you touched on it there, but just to recap, this year in particular, then the activities that perhaps the EA are planning to organise? Are they doing any of their own events or any initiatives for Good Relations Week?
Yeah, okay. So two things there, I suppose, Joe. We're going to encourage the schools to do their own things. So we'll be able to support them with a little bit of funding that they get through the Aspire Peace Plus programme. So they'll be able to do things themselves. But within the massive organisation with which is EA, a big corporate organisation, we'll be raising awareness about Good Relations Week. So last year we would have had a lunch and learn, very similar to this type of thing, where we encourage all our employees to come on board and to listen and to hear about the work that is happening during Good Relations Week. We're hoping this year to have a couple of days that we're really going to focus in on professional development for teachers. So supporting teachers who are delivering this type of work. So supporting teachers who might be addressing maybe controversial, maybe sensitive issues, and asking them to come out and learn how to deliver that within their own classrooms. And we're also going to be launching a poster campaign as well, so that our schools can get involved at any level. Let's get creative. Let's think of our language around connection and do some artwork connected to that.
Fabulous. It's all going on in October. So Steph, I'm going to come to you. Thank you, Jane, for that. I'll come back to you in a second. But Steph, from a Springboard perspective, I mean, you're passionate about Good Relations Week and always great at getting involved. Give us a flavour of some of the things you've done in the past and how they've been received.
Absolutely. So Springboard, we've been involved in Good Relations Week really since its inception, and have always been huge advocates for it. It's a fantastic opportunity. As Russell said earlier, there are so many amazing and incredible grassroots organisations doing peace building work and good relations work all throughout the year, but Good Relations Week really gives the opportunity to actually hone in on that and highlight that. So some of the things that we've been involved in before is we've had young people who've delivered a shared event in Crumlin Road Jail, where they've looked at the impact of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement 26 years on from its signing. We've also had like screening of documentaries around the impact of peace building, where we partnered with NI Screen and premiered that in the MAC last year. But suppose for us, the key thing is young people are organising this. So it's youth-led events where they're really getting that opportunity to kind of build a skill set of planning, organising, but also feel represented. We're working with young people from across so many different backgrounds. So to feel represented, to feel connected, to feel that they can be part of something much bigger than what they're already involved in through Springboard projects. So we've really seen the impact of that on young people and been able to build on that year on year by coming up with different...
Sorry to cut across. Yeah. When you say you've seen the impact, what do you think young people get out of being involved in that?
I think as well as it really showing them the sense of connection and feeling represented, it gives them a voice and shows them they can have a voice. Whenever they ran the Belfast Good Friday Agreement event, for so many of them prior to that, they had no connection. They were born after the signing of the Good Friday Agreement. So it was a wee bit of looking back at legacy, you know, the impact of the conflict here on them, and then how they can take that forward. So we've definitely seen that it is helping to inspire future peace builders and young people to build those skill sets for moving forward. This year, for example, we're going to take it internationally because we have a group of young leaders going to Cyprus on Good Relations Week. So they'll actually be over there sharing some peace building practices from here and taking that away. So it's building those skills within young people to be able to say, we can be part of this and we can create a space to come together and really, really highlight that connection and community cohesion. And it's been really, really great. For the power of events we've seen for bringing people together has really, really been inspirational for the young people we work with.
So you kind of you brushed over that quite quickly. Tell us a bit more about this year. Drill down into that. I mean, there's a huge amount of planning must go into something like that.
Yeah, so we have a series of events happening throughout the week this year that we're very excited about. So we will be bringing together all of our young people from across all of our projects to do things. There's nothing too big or too small, we would always say, for Good Relations Week. It doesn't have to be big things like going to Cyprus, but we will also have other events where some of our young people are going to be connecting, obviously taking inspiration from the people and planet aspect of this year's theme. We will have young people who will be connecting into some community gardens. Community gardens have been a really great hub for connecting people of all ages across Belfast. So some of the young people are going to be getting involved there. We're also going to have young people who have recently worked on a Peace Walls project share some of their research around what it was like for them as young people growing up, impacted by a peace wall. And then we will have our young leaders who are traveling to Cyprus who will share some of the aspects of what's been learned here and take that overseas. So we're really excited about the diversity of range of different events that we can run.
So how many are off to Cyprus?
16 young people from across the region.
And do they go for a whole week?
They'll go for a week, yeah, and they'll engage with their peers in Cyprus who also live in a divided society. So they'll be sharing some interesting things while they're over there.
Some huge learnings, but again,
Absolutely.
what Russell touched on and what everyone has touched on, you know, if you've only got a tiny pot of money, a tiny budget, something like the community gardens, that doesn't require a lot of money, but there's a whole lot of learning in it, and it really, you know, ties in nicely with the theme of this year.
Absolutely, and you don't have to replace what you're already doing. Everybody, as we said, is doing incredible work every single day, so it can be meaningful, smaller group work sessions. It can be information sessions. It doesn't have to be very heavily resource driven, so nothing too big or too small.
So guidance wise, for anyone listening today or listening to the recording of today, don't be put off by that. It doesn't have to be a Cyprus for a week. It can be something much smaller.
Absolutely.
Give them some tips and some advice from your experience.
I would say, you know, engage with the week. There's so much happening throughout the week. So whenever the list of activities come out, I know for us a big benefit has been also bringing young people or bringing whoever you work with, your service users, to other people's events can be something really incredible and really impactful, and seeing what else is happening throughout the week. And if you're thinking of
done.
Yeah, we've done that. We would do that every year. So we'll see what else is happening throughout the week, and we'll encourage our young people in our groups to also attend what else is going on. It doesn't have to necessarily always be that you're running the event. And then in terms of ideas or getting creative with your own things, anything at all, anything that you're doing, it's really just an opportunity to highlight or showcase the incredible work that's happening all year round.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you for that. Jen, you've been waiting patiently. I'm going to come to you next. From a council perspective, give us a flavour of some of the sorts of things that you've been doing with regard to Good Relations Week.
Hi, well, similar to what the rest of the panel have kind of talked about, we do a range of kind of smaller in-house activity and then bigger stuff out in the community. Probably a big campaign and trying to promote other activities that are happening around the borough and beyond, and then our own, you know, good relations messages throughout that week. We've linked in, I suppose, with our community partners to host the likes of art exhibitions, art workshops, and library events and such, as well as our schools, and delivering shared space activity, bringing in a number of schools together through the schools partnerships and things like that. And I'm thinking Jacksonville, I'll probably link in with Jacksonville at some point too. We also do a football tournament, and we bring in our community partners. We had TEO had a team in, council put a team in as well, and basically that's bringing around some of our newcomer groups in partnership with IFA, so that we come together and we play football and we have fun for a day and just promote that diversity through football. Last year as well, we introduced a peace building workshop then that kind of started a series of workshops, and it was just around kind of promoting, well, what do people have an understanding of what good relations is, and just giving that kind of taster opportunity for people to come along without any knowledge or any expectation, to just start to sort of dip their toe in the water about what good relations is about and how they could get involved.
And just on that point, do you think there is an awareness out there, and enough of an awareness of what Good Relations Week is? And if not, how do we improve it? I
think, well, good relations in general, I think sometimes people don't realise that they're doing it, and it's just kind of pointing out, well, actually here, it's about making connections and building relationships with people, and how do we maintain those positive relationships across the board, be it around race, religion, gender, or whatever it may be, but just how we be, I suppose, engaged citizens, and how we interact with each other, and it's all around those relationships and connections. It can be challenging as well to bring that into a council arena, and how we tried to do something internally with that last year as well, with the creation of a good relations staff cookbook. So kind of remotely, we invited all the members of staff to, without putting too much emphasis on it being around cultural diversity, it was a case of throw in your family favorite recipes, whether you've learned, you've gained these recipes or these meals that you love through traveling or through being passed down through your family, or it's just something you discovered and you liked. And so members of staff then had to submit, or were invited to submit a recipe and tell a little bit of a story about why they enjoyed it. And from that, just naturally, then there was just a variety of stories that kind of came from it. And maybe people in the
Can you share some of them?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to remember now. I know my submission was a gluten-free banana bread, and that linked back just to my family and a niece who's celiac. But then there was other stories around. There's a woman in our culture team who's French, and nobody realised she was French. So and then telling stories just around where they discovered, the certain paella recipes and things while on their travel. So it just kind of brought a natural diversity into the discussion without really making it an obvious thing. Let's talk about how we're different. It was kind of more around, let's find an easy way to share what we enjoy. And then that cookbook was kind of launched at 2 staff events where we done like a potluck lunch. And we brought along samples of what we enjoyed out of the recipes as well. So there was a bit of a casual kind of connection around staff. And I know some of the other councils might be on. It's difficult sometimes to do that internally. So that was something new that we done, and we'll try and repeat a version of that this year as well. It was really well received, and it was pretty easy to do. It was low cost and low fuss, to be honest. And then key as well is linking in with our community partners. So a lot of our community organisations that are on the ground delivering good relations and peace building work day to day have some amazing ideas, and they're the ones really to link in with and see is there ways that we can support them or we can work in partnership, and that kind of has been key to our delivery over the years.
And give us a wee flavour of some of those ideas if you can, just to spark some inspiration with people watching.
Well, we would work very closely with the Community Relations Forum and Cathy Wolf there in Glengormley, and Cathy organises an amazing event in Glengormley each year, the Great Glengormley Get Together. So we support Cathy then just with logistics around council land and council facilities, as well as some funding towards it. And Cathy organises a big shared space where people come together and share information, have fun. There's food, there's information stalls and things like that there. Or working as well as maybe there's a particular need around addressing myths and misunderstandings around racial diversity, and it's a case of putting on a pop-up workshop. Or the art exhibition that we ran last year was linked in with an Afghan refugee who had moved to the area and had these beautiful pieces of art and could facilitate an art session. So that was linked then into the area that she was living in now, and as different ways to kind of address some of those racial tensions at times in a positive way of showcasing the talent and creating opportunities to engage, really. So that kind of all emerged from our community contacts and having an awareness of what the key issues are at the minute.
So it's clear from listening to all of you, that no matter the size, no matter the budget, there is something you can do. Steph, if I can come back to you, have you always felt supported during Good Relations Week? Have you been able to access information and tips and whatnot?
Absolutely. Definitely so easy. Obviously, there's the toolkit and a wide range of resources which also supports you with ideas if you're struggling with things. We were at our planning stage of what to think about to do this year, and we spent some time last week, and you can go to the toolkit and kind of look at what ideas and what you can run. During COVID, particularly those couple of years, it was a wee bit more challenging because get together events just weren't as possible. So even moving to online, which was something new for us, there was loads of support around how we could do that and how we could adapt to moving to online. So definitely, we've always felt that we can reach out and connect in as well with other organisations who are also running events and get some tips and support along the way.
So don't feel overwhelmed, just pick up the phone. Russell's there, the team at CRC are there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just pick up the phone, and any questions that you have or queries, they're always more than happy to help.
And Yaswell, for someone who's maybe watching this for the first time, would you support what Stephanie said there? Would you have any extra advice or anything? I mean, a lot of planning goes into what you do. No, and you're on mute.
Yeah, comment please.
There we go. Sorry, we missed the start of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically it's just to learn. It's just to learn, try and ask for those that have been doing it, that have been participating all over the years. And also one important thing is if you are submitting a grant application, make sure you submit it early enough, because the grant officers, they are very good at coming back to you to let you know if this is going to work. If it's not going to work, don't leave it till die minute. You know, they are always there to, you know, to welcome you. They just want everybody to participate in the Good Relation Week. If you apply for 5,000, if they can give 2,000, they will always make sure they give you something. So work on it. So submit your application early, because that is the most important thing. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Submit it early, get feedback from them, call them. They are very active, very efficient in getting back to people, encouraging people to participate in Good Relation Week. That is what I will add to that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And Jane, you're nodding there. Would you like to come in off the back of that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just nodding away. But I think too, it's about raising awareness within our systems. I mean, our schools are doing this kind of work all the time, but it's just a really good opportunity for them to profile what they're doing and the good work that they're achieving, both, you know, by the teachers and by those young people sitting in front of them. So again, it doesn't take huge amounts of money, and we have examples of schools doing sponsored walks during that week, again, just to raise awareness together, doing colour runs. So sometimes it's also about giving back to the community as well during Good Relations Week. But yeah, absolutely, highlighting what it is that they're already doing is a great way of connecting.
Yeah, and they're fairly simple, simplistic things. Giving back to the community, Jen, that's what you're all about.
Yeah, where we can, and I mean, it's not just a case of it is where the talent is as well. So, not that we're not talented ourselves in council, but it is where a lot of the talent and those grassroots connections are. And I guess if you build on those connections and work together, that it just creates more meaningful kind of opportunities to promote good relations. So that's kind of what we lean on, and then where we can, we'll lead on our own activities too. But where it works best has been with the community partners.
And Steph, do you want to come in there as well? Any final tips or advice or thoughts?
I would just advise people to engage, get involved, you know, try and embrace it as much as possible, not to be fearful or apprehensive because you're thinking you need lots of money and lots of resource and you need to run these big events. It can start small, and it can start with anything from, people have said there's things like coming together for runs or walks or any of that meaningful time. It all adds towards Good Relations Week, and it's really an opportunity to kind of highlight the fantastic work that's going on.
Well, that's a lovely note to end on for our panel discussion. Thank you all so very much indeed. I think it's time to move on now to our Q&A session. Any questions at all from anyone watching, please put them on the chat there if you can. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you today. Just listening to all of you, I had a couple of questions, and I wanted to come back to Peter. You know, we touched on it there. It doesn't matter the size of the budget. Everyone certainly has had a really good experience in terms of, you know, speaking and getting support and reaching out. Can you just go over again what resource or support does the Community Relations Council provide to organisations planning their event?
Sure, and thanks, Joe. And I know that we have some of our grants team with us today in the webinar, so it was great for me, great for them too, to hear about Jaswell's experience of working through the grant application process. We do try and make it as swift and as easy as possible, and we are always available to talk through ideas and make sure that the projects or the ideas that you have to implement your Good Relations Week is something that we can support. We have a small grant scheme. It's called the Community Relations and Cultural Diversity Small Grant Scheme. You can find out all the details about that scheme on the CRC website, which is nicrc.org.uk. And if you click on the funding tab, the drop-down menu will lead you to the CRCD grant scheme. And you can have a look at the criteria there. But if you do have an idea, if there's something that you either want to develop further, something you want to start new, whether it is small, whether it is a bigger project, we're always happy to talk to you. And we would welcome those kind of conversations, Joe. We're about making successful grant applications, so taking the time to, as Jasmine suggested, to engage early, to talk to us early, to talk through your idea. We can help you plan through your idea and talk about the kind of project deliverables that you have. And if it's contributing to the greater good of Good Relations Week, then we're very happy to talk to people, Joe. So the website is the place to go. Find out some more information on the small grant scheme, and then give us an email, give us a call, and we'll be happy to talk through the idea with you.
Thank you so much. Okay, please keep some questions coming if you have them. We'll put them to the panel. Another one, I just wanted to bring Russell back in again. You know, we touched on it there. If budget is an issue, give us some idea of some of the creative events that some of the smaller organisations with limited resources have done and can do this year, Russell.
I think it's looking, you know, even if they're not for external people, you know, there could be internal events, you know, whether it's a coffee morning, whether it's a presentation on the work that they have done throughout the year. You know, it could be as simple as something like a peace walk. You know, why not organize something that would take groups, you know, up Cave Hill or, you know, somewhere like that, or somewhere maybe less strenuous, Hillsborough or something like that. You know, it can be really anything. You know, it can be sort of, and then you can go to, I suppose, the bigger budget ones of theatre productions and, you know, and larger scale video pieces. But it could also just be looking at what you've done previously and doing maybe like a wall of work that we have done, you know, so a demonstration or a presentation or cutting of editing of videos that you have previously and running those on the website or on your social media, you know, or simple things like podcasts. Not simple things, because they can be difficult for some groups, but there's some groups who are really, really good at that and just doing simple interviews with people that they've engaged with over the years and publishing that on social channels and stuff, you know. So I think it's not necessarily about how much money you throw at it. It's just how creative and how simple that you want to make it. And again, it's going back to, why are we trying to do that, or why are we trying to do this? It's about celebrating, you know, the amazing work that's done day to day here, you know. So and it's remembering that. It's not going, all right, we're gonna have to do something here for Good Relations Week. It's how you showcase what you're already doing. That to me is the important thing that we need to try and get across. So.
Okay, I've had a question in here from Sharika Shah. Firstly, please share the website and the link again to apply for the grant. We'll do that. But also, is the grant available for individual local cultural artists?
I'll take that question then.
Do you want? Yeah, thanks, Peter.
Okay. Do take the time to look on the criteria on the website. The small grant scheme is specifically for community-based groups within the region, Joe. So it would be important for any particular artist to be linking in and working with a community-based organisation.
Okay, I hope that answers that for you there, Sharika. Finally, I just want to know what any standout events, Peter? You've been around for a while. Tell us any highlights.
Yeah, well, last year you'll remember we had Josh on the webinar from Parallel Histories, and that's a good example of a project that really started small and really began to grow with its engagement in Good Relations Week. And the guys at Parallel Histories run an education program essentially in secondary level schools. They work with each school individually, and then they debate and discover the commonalities in our histories and try and address issues around conflict. So they do that in a school-based setting, and they debate with each other in their own schools about the issues that are presented to them. And then they come together as a cluster of schools and debate amongst schools. And it culminates in a finale event at Stormont. And they get up there to Parliament buildings and they debate in the chamber. So there's it's a good example of where a project started really small with 2 schools, and now I think it's grown into 12 or 14, something like that. So a good opportunity that they use Good Relations Week to showcase the work that they do, to get more involvement and to build something really successful that has a real meaningful impact in the lives of young people and the profile of the week and good relations work across the region, Joe. So that's a real good example that stands out in my mind over the years.
Russell, any final thoughts from you? Standout activities that you can remember?
I think, to be honest, some of the theatre productions and stuff are brilliant, that way. But that's there's only going to be so many of them, that way. So, I feel like I'll be put on the spot. I can't think of one that's really jumps out, But there's been so many of them over the past 5 years that. To be honest, it's great just going through them all and just seeing so many of them. I just wish I could probably get out to more of them. If that was the thing, So yeah.
Yeah, they've been rich and varied, and I think that's a good note to kind of end on. Thank you all so much. Thanks to our audience for joining us for our Good Relations Week 2025 webinar. We really hope that you found it useful. We hope you're really inspired. We hope that the tips and advice that's been shared today has been really, really useful. As Sharika mentioned there, the website is goodrelationsweek.com. Any questions, any issues, grw25@asgcoms.com. Reach out there. And I'm just going to finish by saying thank you so much indeed to everyone for joining us. And I'm delighted to have been your host again this year. And have a great day.
Yep. Thank you very much. Have a great
Bye, everyone. Thank you.